something I need to tell you today, and I need you to listen to me with an open heart, because what I'm going to tell you could completely change the way you understand your relationship with money, with abundance, and with that good fortune that you've been looking for. Maybe you've been wondering for months, maybe years, why things aren't flowing as they should in your financial life. You work hard, you strive, you get up early, you do everything you're supposed to do, and yet money seems to slip through your fingers like water. And the most frustrating thing is that you look around you and see people who apparently do less than you, but they do get prosperity. That hurts. I know. I've experienced it. And today I want to show you something that very few people know about. Something I learned in Japan many years ago, and that completely transformed my way of understanding how the energy in your home directly affects your ability to attract wealth and well-being. You see, in Japanese culture, there is a concept that goes far beyond simple decoration or superficial order. It is a profound philosophy that understands that every object in your home, every piece of furniture, every space vibrates with a particular energy. From all the furniture in your home, there's one that's the most important, most sacred, and the one that most influences your life. Your bed, yes, your bed. That place where you spend a third of your existence. That refuge where your body regenerates, where your mind resets, where your dreams are literally built. The way you place your bed is not a minor detail. It is perhaps the most important decision you make within your home, without even realizing it. My grandmother in Japan used to tell me something that I have never forgotten. She would say, "Kenji, the place where you rest determines the place you arrive." I was a child when I first heard that, and I didn't understand it. I thought she was talking about sleeping well to have energy the next day. But over the years, with experiences, with life's blows, I understood that her wisdom was much deeper. She wasn't just talking about physical rest. She was talking about the alignment between your resting space and the natural flow of energy that governs all things. She was talking about something that is practiced with almost religious seriousness in Japan, and that has been almost completely lost in the West. Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up feeling more tired than when you went to bed? Have you had nights where you tossed and turned, unable to find a comfortable position? Have you ever slept for 8 hours and still woken up with that heavy feeling, as if your body had been working all night instead of resting? If the answer is yes, there's a very good chance that the problem isn't with your mattress, or your pillow, or your stress level. The problem may be with the exact position in which you have your bed. In Japan, when a family moves into a new home, the first thing they do is unpack the boxes or organize the kitchen. The first thing they do is figure out where the master bed will go. And this is not decided randomly or for convenience. The direction of the windows, the location of the doors, the orientation with respect to north and south are studied, and the flow of energy that runs through each room is analyzed. This is not superstition. It is an ancient science that has been practiced by entire civilizations for centuries, and the results speak for themselves. The first rule that I learned and that I share with you today with all the conviction of my experience is that you should never, under any circumstances, place your bed with your feet pointing directly toward the door of the room. In Japanese tradition, this position is known as the position of the deceased, because that is exactly how the bodies of deceased people are placed before their funeral. Feet toward the door. It is the stance of the one who departs, who abandons this world. And when you sleep in that position, night after night, you are sending an energetic signal of departure, of farewell, of loss. Your body rests, but your energy drains away. Your vitality escapes through that door, as if it were a river flowing downhill, without anyone being able to stop it. I met a man in Colombia, a very hard-working businessman, who for 3 years couldn't understand why his business wasn't prospering. He did everything right, he had a good product, good service, potential clients, but the money just wouldn't stick. Going in, coming out, winning, losing. It was like walking on a treadmill, a lot of effort, but no real progress. One day, while talking to him, I asked him how he slept. He looked at me strangely, as if the question had nothing to do with his financial problems. But when he described the layout of his bedroom, everything became clear. His bed was in exactly the position of the deceased, with his feet pointing toward the door. Not only that, the headboard of his bed was against a wall that directly overlooked the neighbor's bathroom. I explained to him what that meant and suggested that he change the position of his bed. That was it, nothing more. I didn't give him any amulets, I didn't recite any special prayers, I didn't sell him any miracle products. I just said, move your bed. 2 months later, he called me, almost in tears. His business had begun to flow in a way that he could not explain with logic. Now, I want you to understand something fundamental. I am not telling you that moving your bed is going to make money fall from the sky. It doesn't work that way. What I am telling you is that when your sleeping space is properly aligned with the natural flow of energy, your body rests better, your mind is restored more deeply, and when you are rested and mentally clear, you make better decisions. And good decisions are what generate prosperity. It's a chain. One link connects to the next. Your bed affects your sleep. Your sleep affects your mental clarity. Your mental clarity affects your decisions. Your decisions affect your results. And your results affect your finances. It's that simple, that profound. The second position that you should avoid at all costs is placing your bed under a window. And this has both an energetic and practical explanation. When you sleep under a window, your personal energy, that life force that the Japanese call K, is dispersed outward. It's as if you were trying to fill a glass that has a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you add, it won't fill. The window acts as that hole. Your energy escapes during the night, and you wake up empty, without strength, without that spark. You need to build your prosperity. Furthermore, from a practical point of view, sleeping under a window exposes you to drafts, temperature changes, external noises, and all of that disrupts your natural sleep cycles. And here is something that modern science has confirmed. The quality of your sleep is directly related to your ability to make smart financial decisions. Studies from prestigious universities have shown that people who sleep poorly are much more likely to take unnecessary risks with their money, to spend impulsively, and to miss opportunities that a rested mind would have no problem detecting. The third rule is equally important. Never place your bed so that the headboard is on a shared wall with the bathroom. The bathroom is the place in the house where energy literally goes away. It is a space for elimination, for discarding, for releasing what the body no longer needs. And when your headboard, which is where your mind rests, your center of thought, your source of creativity and vision, is against a wall that faces the bathroom, you are allowing all that wasteful energy to contaminate your mental space. It's like trying to plant a beautiful garden right next to a drain. The flowers may grow, but they will never reach their full potential because they are being affected by energy that is not meant for them. Let me tell you another story. In Japan, I grew up in a very humble home. We didn't have many material things, but my grandmother was extremely careful about the arrangement of every object in our home. I remember my mother once wanted to move my bed to a corner of the room, so that a new desk she had been given as a gift would fit in it. My grandmother objected with a firmness that seemed excessive to me at the time. She said that the corner was a dead end, a place where energy stagnated and could not circulate. She said that if I slept there, my mind would become slow, my ideas would dry up, and my future would be clouded. My mother, who was more modern and practical, didn't pay much attention to her and moved the bed anyway. Over the next few weeks, I started to sleep poorly. I had nightmares. I had trouble concentrating in school. I lost my appetite. My grandmother didn't say anything. Non, she just waited until my mother, Non, worried about my condition, Non, decided to return the bed to its original position. In 3 days, everything returned to normal. 3 days. That was all it took. Do you know what I learned from that experience? I learned that you don't need to fully understand how something works to respect it. I didn't understand energy flows when I was 7, but my body could feel it, and your body feels it too. Every night when you go to bed, your body is talking to you, telling you whether that place is right or not. The problem is that we have lost the ability to listen to it. We are so busy with the noise of the outside world that we have forgotten how to listen to the whisper of our own inner being. Now let's talk about the ideal position, the position that Japanese masters have recommended for centuries to attract prosperity, health, and good fortune. Your bed should be positioned so that you can see the door from where you are lying, but your feet are not pointing directly toward it. This is known as the command position. It is the position of the leader, the strategist, the observer, without being observed. When you sleep in this position, your subconscious mind feels safe, secure, in control. And when your subconscious mind feels safe, it doesn't waste energy on alertness and vigilance during the night. All that energy is redirected toward restoration, creativity, and planning. You wake up with ideas, you wake up with clarity. You wake up with that sense that today is a good day, that something good is going to happen today. The head of your bed should be firmly against a solid wall. Not a glass wall, not a thin wooden partition, not a curtain. A solid wall. This represents stability, support, foundation. In life, we all need something to support us, and symbolically, that wall behind your headboard is your support. It is the physical representation that you have a firm foundation to build on. People who sleep with their headboard floating in the middle of the room without touching any walls tend to experience a constant feeling of instability in their lives. Not necessarily financial, although many times that is also there. It is an emotional instability, a feeling of having no roots, of not belonging anywhere. There is another aspect that I want to mention that is absolutely crucial, the order under your bed. In many homes, the space under the bed becomes a warehouse of forgotten things, old boxes, clothes that are no longer worn, dusty shoes, documents that no one remembers putting there. And all of that accumulation of stagnant objects is directly affecting the quality of your energy while you sleep. It is as if you were sleeping on a swamp. The water is down there, still, stagnant. And the vapors of that stagnant water rise and envelop you without you realizing it. In Japan, we have a concept called iya, which translates to empty space, iya, but it actually means much more than that. It is the space that allows things to flow. It is the silence between musical notes that makes the melody meaningful. It is the pause between words that gives meaning to speech, and underneath your bed, that space needs to be clean, empty, breathing. When you clear the space underneath your bed, you are literally opening a channel for the energy of prosperity to flow towards you as you rest. Let me be very honest with you. I am not a mystic or a guru. I am a man who grew up between two cultures, Japanese and Colombian, and who has learned to take the best of both worlds. What I share with you is not magic. It is practical wisdom that has been tested by millions of people for thousands of years. And if you are listening to this today, alamau, it is not by chance. It is because there is something in your life that needs to change, and perhaps, just perhaps, the most powerful change you can make begins in the most intimate and personal place you have, your bedroom. I want to talk to you now about something that in the West almost no one considers: the orientation of your bed with respect to the cardinal points. In Japanese tradition, sleeping with your head pointing north is another position associated with the dead. It's called kita makura, which literally means pillow facing north. This is the position in which bodies are placed during Buddhist funeral rituals. While sleeping facing north can have different connotations in other Eastern traditions, in Japanese culture it's something that's respectfully and seriously avoided. The recommended orientation for attracting prosperity and good fortune is with your head pointing east or southeast. East is the direction of the rising sun, of new beginnings, of energy that awakens and grows. When you sleep with your head facing east, you're aligning yourself with the energy of dawn, with the power of what's being born, what's beginning, what holds the full potential of the world ahead. It's like facing the future instead of turning your back on it. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Kenji, my room is small. I don't have many options for where to put my bed, and I totally get it. Believe me, I've slept in rooms where the mattress barely fit, but even in the tightest of spaces, there are always adjustments that can be made. Sometimes you can change the direction of the bed. Bull! But you can change other things. You can clear the space underneath it. You can make sure the feet aren't pointing toward the door. You can put the headboard against the most solid wall. Every little adjustment counts. Every little change adds up. You don't need the perfect room. You need the right intention and the willingness to do the best with what you have. And this, my dear friends, is exactly the same thing that applies to life. You don't need perfect conditions to thrive. You need the right attitude, the daily discipline, and the wisdom to know that the little things matter. Financial success doesn't come in one big stroke, made it. It comes in thousands of small, right decisions made day after day. And the arrangement of your sleeping space is one of those decisions, giant, small in appearance, giant in impact. Let me share something else I learned on my travels. I once visited the home of a very successful Japanese businessman in Tokyo. Although his company made millions, his house wasn't ostentatious or luxurious. It was simple, clean, and tidy. When I entered his bedroom, I was surprised at how basic it was. A low bed in the traditional Japanese style, a small piece of furniture next to it, and nothing else. I asked him why, being so successful, he lived so simply. The words he said became etched in my mind forever. He told me, "Kenji, wealth is not measured by what you accumulate in your home, but by what you allow to flow through it. If you fill your home with stuff, energy has no room to move, and if energy doesn't move, neither does money." That conversation completely changed my perspective, and it's the reason why I'm talking to you about this with such passion today. Because I've seen with my own eyes how people who apply these principles transform not only their relationship with money, but their entire quality of life. I've seen marriages improve. I've seen people overcome years of insomnia. I've seen entrepreneurs who were on the verge of bankruptcy find new opportunities that seemed impossible. There's a fourth mistake I want to mention, gade. And this one is particularly common in Latin American homes, vanishen, which is placing the bed in front of a mirror. Many people have a dresser with a mirror right in front of the bed, or a large mirror on the wall that reflects the entire bed. In the tradition of feng shui, which shares many principles with the Japanese philosophy of space, a mirror in front of the bed is one of the most disturbing elements for rest and prosperity. Why? Because the mirror doubles energy, and during the night, Rakuge, when your body is at its most vulnerable. Rakuge, when your personal energy is in the process of being restored. Rakuge, the mirror reflects that energy back to you in a chaotic way. It's as if, instead of sleeping alone, you were sleeping with an energetic double of yourself that is constantly bouncing your own energy from one side to the other. This generates restlessness, nighttime anxiety, nightmares, and an energetic drain that manifests as chronic fatigue and eventually as financial difficulties. If you have a mirror in front of your bed and you can't move it, cover it at night. It's as simple as that. A cloth, a pretty fabric, whatever, but cover it before going to sleep and uncover it in the morning. This simple gesture can make a difference that will surprise you. I also want to talk about electronic devices in the bedroom. I know that we live in a hyper-connected world and that many of you sleep with your phone next to your bed, tones, with the television on phones, with your laptop on the nightstand, and I understand that it is difficult to separate yourself from these devices. But I need to be direct with yourself. Every electronic device in your bedroom is an energy thief, not only because of the blue light that affects your melatonin production, KEEK, which science has already amply demonstrated, but because these devices emit electromagnetic energy that interferes with the natural flow of key space for rest. In my grandmother's house in Japan, the bedroom was a sanctuary. Nothing could enter that was not essential for rest. And she lived to be 94 years old, with a health that many young people would envy. She died peacefully, without degenerative diseases, without chronic medications, and I am convinced that her sacred respect for the space for rest was one of the keys to her longevity and well-being. Now, I want to connect all this to something bigger, because it's not just about where you put your bed, it's about the relationship you have with your space, with your home, with your life. The way you treat your bedroom is a reflection of how you treat yourself. If your bedroom is cluttered, chances are your mind is too. If your bedroom is full of unnecessary things, chances are that your life is also full of commitments, relationships, and activities that don't contribute anything to you. And if your bed is placed without any intention or thought, it's likely that you are living your life the same way, without direction, without purpose, letting circumstances decide for you instead of taking control. In Japan, we have another beautiful concept called ikigai, which is your reason for being, pobos, your life purpose. And ikigai is cultivated in small spaces, in everyday details, in the decisions that seem insignificant, but that define who you are. Deciding how and where you place your bed is an act of ikigai. It's telling the universe, "Ooh, I'm paying attention. I take my life seriously. I take care of the details because I know that the details build the whole." Japanese discipline, the one that the world admires so much, lalihon, isn't born in factories or corporate offices. It's born in the home, lalihom. It's born in the way you make your bed every morning, lalihom. It's born in the way you organize your clothes, lalihom. It's born in the way you clean your home. And all of that all of that domestic discipline, is later reflected in your ability to generate wealth, to manage your finances, to make smart decisions with your money. I always say that clutter is the most expensive tax that you pay without realizing it. Every time you waste 15 minutes looking for something you can't find, you're paying a tax. Every time you arrive late because you couldn't find your keys, you're paying a tax. Every time you sleep badly because your room is a mess and your bed is in the wrong position, you're paying a tax, and at the end of the month, at the end of the year, those invisible taxes add up to a fortune that you didn't earn, a fortune that was lost in the clutter. I want to share with you an exercise that I do every time I feel that my life is becoming disorganized. That my finances aren't flowing as they should, that my energy is low. It's a very simple but extraordinarily powerful exercise. I arrive at my room, stand in the doorway, and look at it as if it were the first time I've seen it. I observe every detail. Where the bed is, what's under it. There's things that shouldn't be there. Once the space feels clean and open, it feels loaded and heavy. And then very calmly I start making adjustments. I move what needs to be moved. I clean what needs to be cleaned. I take out what I no longer need, and when I'm done, I lie down on the bed and breathe deeply, and almost always, almost without fail, I feel an immediate difference, a lightness, a peace, as if someone had opened a window in a room that had been closed for too long. There's something else I should mention, and that's the issue of sharing a bed. If you sleep with your partner, the position of the bed affects both of you, and this is where many arguments between couples have their hidden roots. Couples who fight constantly, who don't communicate well, who feel like they're drifting apart emotionally, often find that by changing the layout of their bedroom, their relationship improves significantly. Because when both sleep in a space that is not energetically aligned, irritability increases, patience decreases, and problems that could be resolved with a calm conversation turn into silent wars that slowly erode love. The bed of a couple needs to have access from both sides. This is essential. When the bed is against the wall on one side, the person sleeping on that side feels trapped, limited, without their own space. And that creates resentment, even if it is unconscious. Each person needs their side of the bed with their own space, their own nightstand, their own sense of freedom within the shared space. It is a perfect metaphor for how a relationship should work. Together, but not smothered. United, but not dependent. Sharing, but respecting each other's individuality. And when a couple is in harmony, their finances improve. This is not a romantic theory, it is a practical fact. Couples who communicate well make better financial decisions together. Couples who rest well have more energy to work, to create, to undertake. Couples who sleep in a harmonious space support each other instead of sabotaging each other. Everything is connected. Your bed, your relationship, your money, everything. Now I want to talk to you about something that sounds contradictory, but it is profoundly true. Austerity attracts abundance. In the West, the tendency is to fill the bedroom with pretty things, decorations, paintings, ornaments, occasional furniture, decorative pillows that nobody uses. And all of that, no matter how pretty it may be, is obstructing the flow of energy. In the traditional Japanese bedroom, beauty is in simplicity. Beauty is in empty space. Beauty is in what is not there. Think of a river. A river flows strongly and clearly when its channel is clear. But if you start throwing stones, logs, garbage into the middle of the river, the water stagnates, becomes dirty, loses its strength. Your bedroom is that river, and your prosperity is the water that needs to flow freely through it. Every unnecessary object is a stone that obstructs that flow. Every ornament that you do not need is a log that diverts the current of abundance. This brings me to the concept of danari, which is the Japanese practice of letting go of the unnecessary. Dan means rejecting what you do not need. Sha means discarding what no longer serves you. Ri means distancing yourself from the desire to accumulate. When you apply danari to your bedroom, you're making space not just physically, but energetically for new things to come into your life. You're saying, I'm ready to receive. I have space. I'm open to abundance. And here's a beautiful paradox. The less stuff you have in your bedroom, the richer you feel. Because true wealth is not accumulation, but freedom. The freedom to move, to breathe, to think clearly, to rest deeply, to wake up each morning feeling like a new human being, ready to conquer the world. Let me now give you some practical and concrete recommendations that you can apply today, tonight, without spending a single cent, because transformation does not have to be expensive. The most powerful things in life are free. First, check the position of your bed. Make sure your feet are not pointing directly at the door. If they are, move it even a little, even a few inches to the side, to break that direct line between your feet and the door. Second, check what's under your bed. If there are boxes, bags, old shoes, clothes that you no longer wear, take them all out. Clean that space. Let it breathe. If you need storage, use another area of the house, but under your bed should be clean and free. Third, prop the head of your bed against a solid wall. If it's currently floating in the middle of the room or against a window, move it. Find the strongest, most solid wall and put it there. That wall is your backing, your foundation, your anchor. Fourth, if you have a mirror across from your bed, cover it tonight before you go to sleep. Notice how you feel when you wake up tomorrow. You can find out for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Just do the experiment. Fifth, remove unnecessary electronics from your bedroom. If you can take the TV out, do so. If you can leave your phone charging in another room, do so. If you can't, at least put it on airplane mode and away from your headboard. Sixth, try to orient your bed to the east or southeast if your room allows it. It's not always possible, I know, but if you can do it, do it. Go to sleep with your head pointing towards where the sun rises, towards where new energy is born, towards where your new life is born. And seventh, and perhaps most important of all, make your bed every morning. Every morning. Exception. It doesn't matter if you're late, It doesn't matter if you're tired, It doesn't matter if no one else will see it. Making your bed is the first act of discipline of the day, it's the first victory, and that small victory prepares you for the bigger victories that will come during the day. Admiral William McRaven, who commanded the United States Special Forces, said something that perfectly coincides with Japanese philosophy. If you want to change the world, start by making your bed. And he was absolutely right. I want to close with a reflection that I hope will remain engraved in your heart. Good fortune is not a coincidence. Money does not come by chance. Prosperity is not a stroke of luck. Everything is the result of a chain of decisions, habits, and energies that you yourself set in motion each day. And that chain begins in the most intimate, most personal, most sacred place in your home, your bed. The place where you close your eyes to the outside world and meet yourself. The place where one day dies and another is born. The place where your dreams, both those you have asleep and those you pursue awake, are nurtured or are destroyed. Don't underestimate the power of what seems small. In Japan, there's a proverb that says, quote, "The wind that blows out a candle is the same as the wind that fans a fire." The difference isn't in the wind, but in the power of the flame. And your flame, that inner flame that drives you to seek a better life, needs a protected space to grow. That space is your bedroom, and the foundation of that space is your bed. A few years ago, I gave a talk in a small town in Latin America. When I finished, an older, humble woman with hands worn from work approached me. She said with moist eyes, "Mr. Kenji, I don't have a big bed or a nice room. I sleep in a small room with a mattress on the floor. These things apply to me too." I took her hands, looked her in the eyes and said, "Especially for you, because these teachings are not for the rich. They are for everyone." Energy does not discriminate between expensive mattresses and humble mattresses. Energy responds to intention, to the care, to the respect that you give to your space. regardless of its size or cost. That woman wrote to me 6 months later. She told me that she had cleaned under her mattress, that she had moved it so that it was not pointing at the door, that she had taken out an old mirror that she had in front of her, and that every morning without fail, she arranged her small space as if it were a palace. She told me that she had gotten a better job, that her health had improved, that she slept like she hadn't in years, and that for the first time in a long time she felt that life was smiling at her. That, my friends, is the power of what I am sharing with you today. It is not theory, pigo. It is not fantasy, pigo. These are real results of real people who decided to make a small but profound change in their daily lives. In Japan, we say, nakorobi yaoki. It means fall 7 times, stand up 8. And every time you rise, do so from a place of power. Do so from a bed that is aligned with your purpose. Do so from a space that breathes prosperity. Do so from a bedroom that is your sanctuary, your temple, your sacred place of renewal. Don't let ignorance of these principles continue to keep you from achieving the money and good fortune that are rightfully yours. Don't let a simple positioning error, something so easy to correct, continue to be the invisible obstacle that prevents you from moving forward. Today you have the knowledge, today you have the tools. All that is missing is for you to decide to act. And remember, it's not about perfection, it's about intention. It's about taking care of the details that the world ignores, but that the universe recognizes. It's about understanding that your home is a living organism that breathes, that feels, that responds to your actions, and that the heart of that organism, the most vital organ, is the place where you rest. The prosperity you seek is not far away. It is not in another country. It is not in another job. It is not in the distant future. It is here. It is now. It is in your bedroom. It is in the way you arrange your bed tonight. It is in the decision to treat your sleeping space with the respect and intention it deserves. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to transform your life starting with the simplest things. I believe that if you are listening to this, it is because you are ready for change. And I believe with all my heart that good fortune and abundance are seeking you with the same intensity with which you seek them. You just need to pave the way. You just need